Welcome back to the painting vlogs, everyone, with Why Do the Nations Rage. So this is episode 3. This is where we're going to be blocking in the figure of Tiberius here. And this is the day after episode 2. So when I stopped again on this day, I realized that the paint was already dry, thanks to all the liquid original I put on the base coat. And so I decided to take advantage of the time and go ahead and get to the point that most of us have probably been waiting for, and that's to get rid of that Cabbage Patch face and see what I can put in its place instead. So here I started out with the jacket that he's wearing. It's like a raincoat, and I got the idea of the color of it from a Mythbusters episode. If you guys remember way back, if you watch Mythbusters, I don't remember, it was like one of the first seasons when they tried to escape from Alcatraz, and they had ordered these raincoats that were really, really old, and I think they were made out of like PVC or something, but they had this like olive green kind of color. And granted that this isn't olive green, this is actually sap green. But I decided to make the raincoat green for that reason, because I wanted it to kind of represent one of those old-fashioned kind of sailor or fisherman kind of raincoats. And they actually have these entire ensembles. They're called slickers. That's what the fishermen wear, and it keeps them dry and warm while they're on rough seas, cold seas with lots of crashing waves and lots of wind. And I'm going to talk a little bit about his hat too, and I'm going to show you a picture of kind of what I was going for as far as the hat. I know it kind of looks a little bit crazy, but if you've seen these hats before, you'll know what I'm talking about. And they do look kind of crazy, but they're very, very distinguishable. Like, like automatically when you see this hat, you know that it has something to do with either a fisherman or a sailor or even a lighthouse keeper. So while I'm working on Tiberius here, I want to try to explain that I'm using tritones to block his figure in, and the difference between why I used 3 different tones to block him in versus using, for example, on the rocks there, I only used 2 different colors. It's because I know beforehand that I'm probably going to spend most of my time overall on painting him. And so I wanted to get as much done in the block-in phase as I felt I could possibly get done before adding detail. Now, when I go in to add detail, it's going to be kind of like what I explained in the Imperfect Cathedral conclusion video with the dynamic range. And I'm actually going to use more than 3 tones on this one. And by the time it's all said and done, the overall background and the surroundings are going to be substantially darker than they are at this point. And his lantern is going to be a challenge, and also the lighthouse itself, where the light's coming out, that's going to be quite a task to paint. Now that one, it's going to take a little bit of experimenting, I think, to figure out how to do that. But I just figured to make it believable for that lantern to be lighting everything up, everything around it's going to have to be dark. So here's his hat, and I'll show you a picture of what I was going for. And I'm using cadmium yellow here for his hat. It's very transparent, so it's going to take a few coats probably to cover up those lines underneath that I initially put in. And I'm adding some, I believe it's burnt umber here underneath the hat and on the side where the light wouldn't hit it as much. And this is unfortunate right here, okay? So his face just got filled in. His whole face got blocked in, and I wasn't able to film any of it. I was having problems with my camera, and it's very disappointing. I apologize for that, but basically, we just skipped forward probably about an hour or two, and I'm working on his face. It actually looks kind of creepy. It reminds me of Leatherface or something right here, because he has no eyes. His eyes have disappeared, and like I told you guys before, it would end up looking nothing like it did initially. And here you see it, that it really transforms after you block it in. So I reached a point just playing with different flesh tones. I used different colors, various colors to block his face in. And like I said, I really wanted to go over that with you, but whenever I go to detail everything in the third phase and I go back over his face, I'll kind of explain exactly what I did in that video. But now I'm working on his hands, and the way that I'm doing this is, instead of just doing single strokes for each finger, I'm actually kind of sectioning the different parts of his fingers and his actual hand. Between each knuckle, I'm kind of just adding a little bit here and there. I'm not trying not to really connect all of it together per se. In an initial paint stroke, I'm just kind of filling it in for each section of each finger, because when I add the detail to this, it's actually going to affect the lantern's going to affect what parts of his fingers are actually being lit up. So I'm trying to think about it in that kind of way where each finger has 3 different sections to it, plus the knuckles. And I'll explain that some more too whenever I get to the detailing step. Now finally I came in with some mixing white over that side of his hat that the lantern light's going to be hitting the most, just to light it up a little bit. And that was pretty much it. I finally, for the last step, I tried to go over his beard a little bit and his mouth, adding a little bit more detail into it. But I actually realized that I had to leave his mouth alone because the paint was very wet, and I knew that I had to let it dry or I was going to mess it up. So yeah.
Okay guys, guess this is the end of episode 3. And as I said, I noticed that the paint was dry when I stopped today. So I decided to go ahead and continue the blocking in phase. I have blocked Tiberius in there, and I've almost got a full canvas here that's completely blocked in. I'm just ending episode 3 because I completed my task. It's been a real pleasure, a real joy painting this figure here. It's something that's definitely outside of my comfort zone, outside of my ballpark, but not outside of my grasp, I don't think. And you know, it's something that I can slowly progress at over time and get better at over time. But yeah, as soon as we get done blocking the whole canvas in, which we don't have that much left, this here, this is all like foamy. Basically, that's this here, hang on, this here is the equivalent of all this here. It's like sea foam, like, and it's gonna take a while to paint all that, so I purposely saved it for last. There's gonna be a lot of detail in that, and it's gonna be pretty challenging. I might not actually get to that until I get out of the truck and get back home. But this is gonna dry, and when it dries and I get more time to work on it, we're gonna go in for step 3, which is gonna be adding more detail and texture. That's the 3rd phase. The 4th phase is going to be adding highlight and just trying to adjust the light, like everything that the light's going to hit. And that phase is probably going to include some glazing, which I've also never done with oil paint. So I'm super excited about this. I'm very pleased about the direction it's heading in, and I thank you guys for watching the painting vlog videos. I hope you're enjoying this as well. I hope you're learning as I am. Also definitely learning, as you know, like I said, this is the first time I've ever transferred anything from, you know, drawing form into an actual painting. There are some differences for sure. But we will continue to progress. We will continue to move along, and as we do, I'll record it, I'll film it, and I'll put it on my channel so you guys can check it out if you're interested. Thank you again for watching. If you like this video, then please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon so you can get updates from YouTube when I upload new videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, Jared signing out with Why Did the Nations Rage, so on and so forth.